Hi, I'm James McGuire, and on today's eSpeaks, we're looking at some of the challenges and solutions for getting the most from AI in your business, including how to set up corporate guardrails for the use of artificial intelligence, including generative AI. To discuss that, I'm joined by Amit Walia, Chief Executive Officer at Informatica. Amit, very good to have you with us today.
James, pleasure's all mine. Great to be here.
So I think, we can certainly agree there's a major gold rush going on in artificial intelligence these days. Ever since ChatGPT came out in November of last year, there's been almost I would call it a quasi-hysteria about AI. There's a lot of dollars flowing in. Of course, there has been for a number of years in reality. But not every company is happy with how they're using AI. Some of them are running into problems with scaling and operationalizing artificial intelligence. I mean, what do you see in terms of some of the difficult challenges here with AI?
Well, first of all, I can tell you that we're super excited about what the current innovation in AI is. And I'll begin by saying, I think we are all, in the short term, there is more hype than reality. But I think that for the long term, we are truly underestimating the opportunity here.
So
I think if you step back,
it's going to be exceptionally powerful, in other words.
I definitely think so. And if you think about it, like, AI, if you look at it, there's a trifecta that's coming together, which is cloud, data, and AI. There is no AI without data, and there is no AI and data without the scale of the cloud. So I think it's AI has those two as foundational layers. So all of that stuff is happening as we speak.
Right.
To the question you asked me, look, I think right now the biggest thing is I talk to enterprises across the globe, the chief data officers, the chief analytics officers, the chief information officers. Everybody is just trying to wrap their head around, what does it mean for my business? What do I do with it? In some ways, the debate is, oh my gosh, it's going to unleash this amazing, profound productivity. You can do so much more. The other one is that, geez, there is so much intelligence, so much richness sitting out there that I can harness. And then the third one is the fear comes in. So what does it mean? Governance. How do I think about it?
If I may interrupt you a little bit on that one, on the fear piece, I did not hear the fear piece as much before ChatGPT. I talked to AI experts and they would say, well, could be some job losses, but that are going to be made up because people will be needed in the AI industry. Now there's a certain sense of anxiety that's new, and it's pretty fierce, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's natural when something such profound comes out. It's unknown the scale impact of that one. So I think extreme optimism and sometimes extreme pessimism or fear are both very normal to have. So I think that's what is happening right now. Everybody's trying to wrap their head around it. But I think if you really, really step back, there are three opportunities here, or three things that are happening here. There is definitely profound value creation here. We can do so much more. We today can scale and analyze our business and see things. We can democratize a lot of that stuff because the chat interface and the ability to do that for users like you and me can actually do complex things that were just impossible for us to do.
Right.
And then there is going to be I think regulatory compliance will become a lot more profound here. How do you still make sure that we are not doing things that we should not be doing, or we are not accessing data that we should not be accessing, or we are not letting AI bring things together that should actually be, for even individual users like you and I, should be monitored, controlled, and managed. So I think all of those are happening as we speak.
Well, I think certainly part of the concern is issues around AI ethics and compliance. I think one of the problems is going to be, is there an entity that can really regulate artificial intelligence? There's so much money going into AI. In theory, perhaps there could be government regulations around AI, but the problem is private industry tends to be so much better funded and able to move faster than government. So can government really regulate AI? So what about the issues of AI ethics and compliance, the idea of guardrails around your AI deployment?
Yeah, but I think I think that'll happen. I think we have to be thoughtful. Innovation can also sometimes get kiboshed very quickly if you get too quickly on top of it. I think there has to be an element of what needs to be regulated, how it needs to be regulated. First, we need to let innovation unleash itself. And I think we need to figure out where it lands. Right now, we're in the let 1,000 flower blooms category. I think we need to understand what it does. I do think that software companies like us, AI companies like us, and the government has to come together to then create some kind of guardrails, whether that's regulatory compliance at the highest level, Also, what I call ethical management of AI that every organization has to do. Look, we're a data management company. I'll give you this.
Mhm.
We are going to basically naturally graduate into with our governance portfolio to help customers understand, hey, with your your data was like this. Now, with the help of AI, it becomes more sensitive because it can be brought together and it can do many more things. And it's in the hands of different kinds of users. Do you know that? Just contextualizing and providing awareness of that workflow will become extremely important in the world of AI. And that's an opportunity. And then I'm sure different countries and regions will also look at how do you responsibly govern that, and organizations have to maybe talk about that, contextualize that. So all of that time will organically evolve also, in my opinion.
Well, all right. So if I drill down on that just a moment, I mean, if AI is to be regulated, or if there's guardrails, what specifically would that mean for a given company? Is it either regulation piece or the guardrail piece? I mean, what is a company guarding against when they put up guardrails?
I think two things. Look, forget regulatory compliance for a minute. If I am any company today really is in the business of in the end serving their end customers, and our brand, if I'm a retail company, my brand is tied to how well I manage the trust of my end customers.
Mhm.
And trust is earned once over the course of many years of hard work and lost in a minute. And I think enterprises get that. So I think there will be natural force of making sure that you can keep the trust of your end customers. That's very important. So I think that will be internal guardrails. Then there will be regulatory compliance. Oh my gosh, misuse of data, or misuse of data in many different ways,
Mhm.
loss of data, or somebody trying to come through and leveraging AI to take different pieces of data and putting it out in the World Wide Web, or
Right,
ransomware. I
right.
think both of those things will happen, and there we'll need proper regulatory compliance. And I think that I would say that you also heard what OpenAI was saying. I think industry believes that some amount of that will be needed, but guardrails internally will also be needed. So we, as companies serving our customers, don't lose their trust.
Mhm. Well, let's drill down to the Informatica product offering. How is Informatica positioning itself around the Gen AI trend? In particular, what about the Claire solution? What does that mean for customers?
Yeah. So if you like kind of step back, we actually launched our AI, which is called Claire, back in 2017. Around the time OpenAI started doing their work, and
Okay.
it takes a couple of years for AI to hone. And where we are today is that we've scaled Claire, running it on all kinds of machine learning algorithms inherently baked into our platform to do things like what happened in the consumer world, like photo tagging on Facebook, recommendations on Amazon. We brought that to the world of data management. It's got data tagging for data governance, recommendations for data if you're doing analytics. That's what we are doing today across the globe. That itself is basically giving tremendous value to our customers. But where we sit today with generative AI, we're taking it a big meaningful step forward, where we are doing multiple things, tremendously simplifying data management. We're taking that chat interface and applying it on top of Claire. We call it Claire GPT. So where users like you and I, through a very simple text chatting interface, can actually do complicated data management activities. Simply, if you want to ask, can you bring me the data from my Western region of customers that have a very high churn risk? Good Lord, the amount of work that happens under the covers is very complex, but you can now do that interface. Second is, we're also providing co-pilot capabilities that once you start doing that, co-pilot will sit next to you and keep recommending you the next best thing to do. Oh, you want to do that, but have you thought about these two other things that you should be thinking? Because we're not sophisticated users. So we're bringing Claire GPT capabilities, Claire co-pilot capabilities, and our goal is twofold: democratize the use of data management to any user, and also dramatically reduce the overall cost of doing these kind of activities from the past, so customers can get more value from these capabilities.
It's a really interesting idea, the idea of democratizing access to data and democratizing data management, and that the idea that a user who is not necessarily a technical expert can use a text prompt to input into a data management platform does change everything, because there was a time when only a data scientist or a true analytics pro could do that. So it is part of this larger mega trend of the democratization of technology. I think it's pretty interesting, actually.
We totally believe in that. I mean, and by the way, the power users will still stay, James. You know that. And the power users are going to do more stuff. But
Mhm.
basic stuff was getting, I would say, stuck by not being able to do that. And now using NLP kind of capabilities, Many of such things can be done by simple users, business users who are wanting to do little things, but they cannot get their hands onto it. So we think it's a game changer for those kind of users.
Mhm. What does it actually look like in terms of the user interface? So I'm working with Claire and I input, send me all the data from the Western region between 2011 and 2019. Is it then turned into graphs? How does it actually produce those results for the user visually?
Now you're asking some great questions, real technical questions. So under the cover, all the data management and complex activities still have to be done now, but we have first elevated and simplified it for the end user to not have to see that. It's masked for them. But
Okay.
under the covers, what happens, James, is, and if I keep it very simple, is that our platform, Intelligent Data Management Cloud IDMC, is the metadata system of record for a customer. Because data is so distributed everywhere, fragmented everywhere, we basically understand the context of data about data, which is metadata. So it hits the metadata, and from there, it knows what to do. It understands what is customer data. And in a lot of places, customer data is not coded as customer data, but Claire understands that. It also understands Western region. It's taking all of those things, and like what you do in natural Google search, it breaks it apart into many things. It also knows that, oh my gosh, this data is duplicate. So it starts using data quality rules to make it better. Oh my gosh, the phone number is missing. So let's add that. It starts doing all of those things under the cover. And Claire has natural knowledge because we've done this for thousands and thousands of customers and millions of times. So we have so much intelligence to make it better. That's what starts happening under the covers, and we start giving output to the user. And then
Interesting.
Copilot starts telling you, if you start doing job one, it say, oh, now I know what James you're trying to do. Let me recommend you 3 other things. So it starts complementing the GPT interface.
Interesting. All right, definitely a need for that. Well, I think that the big question that the companies are wondering, that consumers are wondering, what is the future of generative AI? And it seems like the difficulty with that issue is that it is changing and evolving exponentially even as we speak. So I think it's a particularly hard question to answer because it is so leapfrogging in its growth. But what do you see from where you said the future of generative AI, and how will it evolve, and how will it affect business? And I think that's probably a 5-hour answer, but I'll ask you to answer it anyways.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's a long answer. I think it's going to be transformative. No doubt about that one. I think we are seeing these, sometimes we had to these step function technology changes. The internet was one of those. Cloud was one of those. Distributed computing back in the days was one of those. And I think we are seeing something similar right now. It's transformative. And you see 3 things. First is intelligence. AI has scale intelligence. It can start inferring things that you and I or any human-driven models or things will not be able to do. So that tremendous amount of intelligence will be at scale, will be crazy. For example, if I'm a Unilever, something is happening in Philippines, Indonesia, and that trend, it can immediately correlate to say, hey, something like this maybe should be happening in the Western region of US because they look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
That predicting is going to be that one thing will be tremendously powerful.
Hmm.
Second is tremendous amount of simplification and productivity improvement. And I think that's bound to happen. I give you some examples of how it will happen even in a complex infrastructure area like data management. Third one is, in my opinion, is basically where we'll come up with many new things that we've never done before.
Right.
To be honest, think about this way: climate change.
Mm.
It will start telling us in effect in a predictive way where climate change can happen faster and where maybe civilizations can hurt us sooner or than anything else, and maybe where we should pour our resources first. I think it'll have a transformative effect on productivity, intelligence, also new use cases emerging. We will have to harness this carefully. Like I said, it's overhyped in the short term, but we are underestimating it in the long term. And I think we're in the very, very, very early innings. We still don't know what we don't know. We all have to learn and scale this responsibly.
I think it is. I would agree with you. We don't know what we don't know. It's very true. But and also agree with you. It will be transformative. What is your take in terms of how Gen AI will affect jobs? Will there be job losses? How do you think that'll shake out in your view?
Look, I don't think like that. I think what will happen is that it will, like anything, change the nature of jobs. I think in the short term, probably it will not. In the medium term to long term, I think what will happen is that certain things that we are doing today will change to certain different things. Every time new technology comes, we always worry about that. And I think what we've always seen is that it has always created a whole new wave of talent and skills and what we need to do. I think that's going to happen. Some amount of stuff that we are spending our energy on will not happen. But I really think that there is so many new things that will come out that we still don't even know. So I think in general, my belief is that it's going to be net complementary to our civilization, all of us, especially things that we have not yet even thought about.
I like the sounds of that, and that may come true, and I hope it does come true. I mean, you definitely have said it. I learned something. Thank you so much for sharing expertise, and I hope you come back and talk with us again sometime.
Pleasure to be here with you, James, and look forward to it next time.